What's up, Ace Nation? I'm tired of you guys losing money because you have your hands in too many different things. Day-to-day operations in your rental properties will bleed you out without you even realizing it. So we got some tips for you today. I got 4 things that you need to delegate to make more money as a real estate investor and to help you operate like a real estate investment business, because that's the key to actually growing your portfolio. You have to operate like a business to get to these big unit counts anyways. Trust me, the mom and pops are not getting to these big numbers. I've seen companies out here, like our old landlord at our office building a while ago was a mom and pop. They called themselves a mom and pop. I never met the owners. They had full-time staff managing the buildings. They had on-site maintenance that was on W-2. They were mom and pop. They owned 70 buildings that were all about like 20 to 40,000 square feet apiece. They were mom and pop. They ran it like a business. I'm gonna teach you a couple things that as a new real estate investor, you can implement immediately to run it like a business, because you're losing money without realizing it if you own rental property and you're doing too much of the day-to-day. It's hard to admit. It's really hard to admit. Why? Because we end up justifying all these things that we shouldn't be doing to ourselves. Oftentimes we know we shouldn't be doing them too. That's why we get so riled up and feisty about it. That's why you guys get into the comments and go, "You're stupid, you're wrong, I only spend a little bit of time doing this, I'm a real investor, you don't know what you're talking about." So not everyone's big like you. We make these excuses, right? Why do we make these excuses? Because there are psychological and practical hurdles that we end up setting up for ourselves that make it hard to succeed while delegating. However, there are ways to design your real estate investment business. There are ways to design your strategy so that you can get over these hurdles and you can actually delegate successfully without having too much of a cost or limiting your profits at an early stage. So before we do any of this stuff, I'm going to go over all this today, right? We are going to talk about freebies. What do you think about that? So let's give you some free stuff. The code today is let it go. Why is the code let it go? Because you need to let some of this stuff go, right? Now, I'm going to let some free stuff go. I'm going to give you guys 40 rental property calculators or other stuff that you guys might be interested in downloading from my store, not the course. After this live is over, we're going to do it at, 9:30, something like that. So after I repost this live, it's going to be in a story. Then there's going to be a story announcing the giveaway, the free stuff, right? Am I frozen right now? Because it's kind of glitchy on my end. So we're going to announce the giveaway right after this live is reposted. There's going to be 40 copies given away. If you go to the store link and there isn't a coupon code at checkout, that means it's either too early or too late. Every copy's been redeemed, right? So, so if you sign up, a lot of people do this. They'll go ahead and they'll click pay now. They don't put the coupon code in. There's no slot. They give me their money, right? So we're all good here if you see a coupon code slot. Now, look, the course is not included because 1, it's a more expensive product. 2, it's a high value product. And it's actually such a good price too. Yeah, the coupon code is let it go, all lowercase. I haven't watched Frozen at all. It's all one word, LETITGO. It's not, I thought you guys meant the live was frozen. The course is not included. It's too good of value. I have a course story. Basically, you know, you get on these podcasts and they always have a note from the sponsor. Well, I'm the sponsor, so I'm gonna give you a note from the sponsor this week. The course story for this week, I call it the 75%er, right? So we had a course buyer, an ACU student per se, right? Now an ACU graduate that said, shot me a message. "Hey, Elliot, dude, this course is awesome. I'm 75% of the way through it, and I've already got a rental property deal." And I love to hear that. Why? Because the actual program is designed to be like a step-by-step, use it as you go guide to be able to take action and get a deal. Like, you should be done with the course and actually have a deal, or at least be ready to go back through it one more time and get a real deal. So this guy gets 75% of the way through and he goes, "I got a deal. What do I do now?" And I go, "Dude, take the rest of the course. It tells you what to do once you get the deal so you can take this thing to the finish line and manage it properly." It just made me really happy to see that someone was using it as intended, actually taking the steps, setting up a criteria, finding a market, getting an acquisitions plan in place, being able to funnel leads, be able to qualify these leads, analyze the deals, and then be able to design the correct offer based on the property and how much equity, how much cash flow you need on the deal, And he had a deal before he even got through the 8-hour program. So I love to see that because, $500 got this guy a rental property a lot faster in a more efficient fashion than he would have had before. So that's my core story for today, the 75%er. I love when I hear you guys getting real deals because you're actually applying the practical stuff that we're putting out there. Anyways, on with the actual day, the topic of the day. We're going to talk to you about, before we talk about the 4 things you need to delegate, I want to talk to you about 3 reasons you struggle to give this shit away in the first place. I wasn't going to make this part of the live today. I was just going to talk about 4 things you need to delegate as a new investor so that you guys can hit the ground running and maybe make some modifications to your strategy really early on. But I got so much pushback, as I always do, on the stories and on the posts that I made about handing things off in the last day or two, that I figured, you know what, we need to address some of the things that are making this hard for us psychologically. So I'm going to give you 3 reasons that many of you and I struggle to give shit away and why these reasons or these excuses are actually wrong. What's the first one? The first one is, it saves me money. But Elliot, it saves me money to go do all this stuff for my rental property myself. Why would I pay someone else? I could do it faster. It won't even cost me that much. It won't take much of my time. They're too expensive. Look, what you've got going wrong here, I get it. We as investors are frugal creatures. We get to the place we are because we save money. So it's ingrained in our behavior. But what happens as soon as you buy an investment property, this is not a stock. As soon as you buy an investment property, you are a business owner. What does that mean? That means you have to start treating it like a business. And treating it like a business isn't all about saving money. It's about growing over time. That's a business's goal, is growth, especially a new business's goal. So what you should be thinking about is your time value trajectory. What do I mean? Well, some people go, hey, I'm going to work for, there's 3 levels to this, right? That you guys need to kind of ascend up. And if you can get to the top level right now, I promise you, you'll be in a much better place over time as long as you make prudent decisions along with it. The first level is not understanding the value of your time. So let's say you're worth $50 an hour, but then you end up doing $20 an hour work just to save the money that you would have paid somebody else. That's the lowest level on the totem pole, and a lot of people are stuck in this level. I need you to get past this and recognize the obvious, that you're worth $50 an hour and you are not paying someone else so you could just sit on the couch all freaking day and not do anything. You're paying someone else so you can go do something that's worth your true value. Now, that's just level 2. Level 2 is being able to say, hey, I'm going to actually do work that's worth my true top value today. But that's not level 3. There's a value above that, right? The smartest business owners say, I'm going to do the work that supports me getting to a higher maximum value tomorrow. Not the work that gets my highest value today only. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to make sure I leave time to do the work that supports me growing my 50 an hour rate to 1,000 an hour. 100 an hour, 200, whatever your time value goal needs to be, right? So I'm constantly focusing my business on how I could spend money on things that allow me to focus on growing my current rate to a bigger rate, which means people ask me all the time now, this is an example, Elliot, do you consult? I go, no, because my hourly rate would just be unreasonably high. And they go, what would your hourly rate be? And I think, well, what do I make? So I'd have to charge, what my annual net income. My annual net income puts me at an hourly rate. Maybe I'd charge someone for consulting of $1,500 an hour. I don't think it's reasonable for you guys. But even if you offered it to me, I've had some people go, I can pay that. I'll pay you $1,500 for an hour of your time to talk business. I still say no. Why? Because I'm really using my time to do the tasks that get me to $2,500 an hour as soon as possible. So I would have to charge ahead based on my future time value trajectory. You're always growing your time value. That's the mindset hurdle you need to get around when you're thinking about, it saves me money if I do it myself. Number 2 is, someone else won't do it as well as me. Well, no fucking shit, they won't. They're not supposed to. Look, I had a business mentor, a guy who exited out of a software company with no investor money on the front end at 33 years old at a $100 million valuation. So I'm sure they bought a majority interest and kept him on. So maybe he walked with 50, right? $51 million worth. This guy, he made a lot of money. He was very successful. And he sat me down, he said, Elliot, a mentor of mine told me when I was starting this business that I'm doing great if I can get the people that I bring onto my team to perform at a level of 35% of my total capacity when I was doing it. I'm doing great. So I need you guys to understand that someone else is not supposed to do it perfectly. They're supposed to allow you the time to go do something better. Now, how do you get your business to sustain the fact that someone's not going to do it perfectly? Well, you have to design your model to support the performance that can be had out in the marketplace by the service providers that you're going to delegate to. If your business model requires perfection, requires your delegates, your property managers, your contractors to perform at the maximum limit of their capacity for you to succeed, it's the wrong business model. You need to redesign your model to support the 35%. It needs to work. You'll learn this as you take on a team. People have to learn your business. They have to master it over time, and they're not supposed to care about it as much as you. They're not supposed to take on the stress. There's a reason they're looking for a stable job. And it's not just systems, it's the product and the business model you have has to inherently support profitability even when people aren't doing it perfectly like you would hope that you would do it. Because there's only so much you, it's bigger than you. It has to make sense and be bigger than you at the same time. Or it has to make sense when it's bigger than you. Number three is, but I like it. But I like it. Yeah, this is bullshit. But I like painting my units. This is complete bullshit. Why is it bullshit? Because you could start a painting company then, instead of being an investor. If you really love being an investor, and that's the focus that you want to have, then go be an investor. And if you really like painting those units, why the hell are you you obviously don't like being an investor more. Because if you like being an investor more, you would understand that, hey, maybe I like painting. Maybe I like reflooring, maybe I like remodeling my place, maybe I like meeting my tenants, I like doing all these things, but I don't like them as much as I like being an investor, so I'm gonna prioritize the thing that's most important to me, my real vision, my real goal, and I'm gonna have to make sacrifices of other things I like. Now, I don't think this is the truth for most cases. I think most people just convince themselves that they like it or convince someone else that they like it so that they don't feel like they're behind for not learning how to give it away. I think there's really like an excuse factor to this thing, but I generally think that for the people that aren't making excuses, if you like it so much, you're in the wrong business. Change your business model. Those are the psychological hurdles. Now let's get into 4 things that you guys, and I think those are more important than these 4 things, to be honest with you, or at least they're more important to understand. These 4 things are a little more self-evident. They're tips I could just rattle off that you guys can just put on your list and learn how to do correctly. I teach you how to do them in my other videos, in the program. I've got tools. I've got a ton of content, free and paid, around learning how to do these things, but I'll give you a brief overview on how to implement them correctly so that when you hand them off, they're handed off in a way that you can succeed. The 4 things and how to make sense of them. Number 1, painting floors. Just remodeling, basic construction, improvements to your buildings, right? You got to give those away. How do you make sense of it though? When you can, I have a seller that sold multiple properties to us. They're always kind of distressed. We always buy them at super discounts from market value. She can never sell them at top of market. And she called me or I talked to her on the phone a couple months ago on a deal that we bought and then resold from her. And she said, you know what, Elliot? Do you ever feel like you're getting ripped off by some of these managers and contractors? Because I told her it's going to cost me $1,500 to $1,800 to repaint that unit. She goes, do you ever feel like you're getting ripped off? Because I get it done for $300-400. And I went, Gloria, do you ever feel like you're getting ripped off? Because you're getting that thing painted for $300. It looks like shit. You get a shitty tenant. It's under market. Your property's not in great shape. And I'm buying this 4-plex from you for $100,000. You can't sell it for $225 or $250 or $300. Right? So that $300 she pays, the $1,500 extra I pay, that allows me to get a discounted property, stabilize it, and add a ton of value. You see how it's getting baked into the business model? You got to bake the improvements and the market cost of improvements into your business model when you purchase the property. You've got to be able to get a discount factor, either credits back from the seller or a discount in purchase price. And if it's going to take effort and time, then you've got to get an equity premium for your time and effort, not just the cost of the improvement at market price. The next thing you should do is you need to establish relationships with the management companies, that's how I prefer to do it, that have these contractors that get work done at reasonable prices. And then you'll still pay $1,500 to paint that 2-bedroom apartment, or $1,800. But guess what? That's market price to get the work done fast and so that you don't have to do it. You won't pay $25, and you won't wait months to get it done. It'll happen relatively quickly. But you got to start with a product that doesn't need a lot of work. Build a relationship with somebody over time where you're not pushing them to do you all these favors. And then as you get to know them and you've given them more business, then you can have open conversations, get better pricing out of them. And you can buy properties at prices where it makes sense for you to spend what you're supposed to spend to get quality work done in a reasonable amount of time. Number 2 is leasing and management. Picking the tenants yourself. I want to make sure I select the tenants. Collecting rents doesn't take me any effort. Look, guys, you got to factor in your cost. If you're leasing the property and managing the property, collecting the rents, creating the profit and loss statements, remember these management softwares at no additional cost, basically do your bookkeeping for you. You just feed it over to your accountant and they handle it. You've got to factor in what it costs you to have all that. Your time. You better take your dollars per hour, right? Or a standard management fee and bake it into your pro forma and then ask yourself, am I okay with working for 10% or 8% of these rents every month based on my future time value trajectory, not even my time, what it's worth maximum today, my time value trajectory. And the yield of the property has to support. What do I mean by that? Look, you guys all have my rental property calculator. If you don't, you have your own, rip mine off. If you don't want to make your own, because I literally sell a really good one for $40, just go buy mine for $40. It's like a couple beers out tonight worth of money to get. And this is kind of the theme right here is I'm selling you a tool that works for $40. Grab it, plug the numbers in on your rental properties, all the numbers, all the expenses, and then buy a property that cash flows enough to support paying other people to handle it for you. It's not supposed to be something that you have to actively manage yourself just to be able to make a couple bucks. Why would you own property in that case? Why wouldn't you just go start a business where you could work the same amount and make more? Right? Make the property passive. The property's cash flow has to support your leasing and management fees. Number 3 is accounting and taxes. Guys, this is a no-brainer. A lot of people try to do their own taxes. You have to understand this, and I say accounting and taxes, 1, because it's a really easy thing to hand off that a lot of people get stuck doing themselves. 2, because there's a lesson built into this, and that is don't invest heavily in learning something you don't understand just to save money on it infrequently. You don't do your taxes more than once a year. To be able to understand how to properly, not just understand the tax strategy, but to be able to file your taxes physically and do the accounting and bookkeeping and manage everything in a fashion that you don't get audited is not worth you learning all that stuff. Stop putting it there. And the accountant goes to school for so long, studies for so long to learn how to do taxes so that they could do it for hundreds of people. Why would you invest the same amount of effort into learning something so you could do it for one person? See what I'm saying? There's a barrier to being able to do something the first time correctly. That barrier is a lot more effort than the actual time it takes to do it once you've learned. Number 4 is acquisitions. This is a little profound. What do I mean by stop doing your own acquisitions? Don't I do my own acquisitions? Well, not really. I don't do my own acquisitions. I don't do any of my acquisitions. Actually, deals come to us. My salespeople don't usually even hunt for deals. Almost all their leads are inbound. So we have marketing doing our acquisitions for us. Now we understand when we have marketing doing our acquisitions for us, we have to do the sales. So I have a sales business. If you don't have a sales business, find someone who has a sales business and find ways to have them bring you leads. You need to develop a system where people are bringing you real estate leads, whether that's working with a wholesaler like myself because you don't mind paying market for someone doing all the due diligence and upfront work and bring you a curated property. That's what our customers like about us. They don't have to go and deal with realtors and ask questions about the property and then wait for an inspection and make offers and just for the inspection to come back and renegotiate. It's all already done for them. So our clients like that from us. If you want to deal with a little bit more of the dirty, but maybe get better deals, you have wholesalers sending you deals. You get on a ton of different wholesale lists. Maybe you have a follow-up system where you establish relationships with wholesalers. You do the same thing with brokers. You can't just be searching around on Zillow and the MLS if you're going to be buying rental properties. It takes a lot of work and you have to ask a lot of questions just to pick one needle out of a haystack. Have a bunch of people delivering needles to you so that you could, or systems delivering needles to you, like an advertising system, so that you can actually just focus on making decisions instead of grabbing and filling your funnel manually. The worst example is like driving for dollars. Searching on the MLS is horrible. Driving for dollars is just as horrible. It's one of these old wholesaler adages that keeps people in side hustle mode forever. I made a story this week that was basically, what did I say? I said 2 words you never heard a rich person say: side hustle. Another 2 words you never heard a rich person say: multiple streams. Everyone I know who says those things, there's a connotation around those 2 phrases of, I'm going to just work harder to make more money. I'm not going to make more money per unit of work though. You want to make more money per unit of work. Don't drive for dollars. Don't scrounge on Zillow for rental properties just to look at properties that you know are highly unlikely to be good deals. Have some systems in place so that your leads are coming to you. So that's my breakdown for today, guys. I'm going to go over the 3 psychological hurdles you need to get over real quick, and then I'm going to rattle off the 4 things you need to give away immediately once you get over those psychological hurdles. The first one is, it saves me money. You need to understand that you need to grow your value per unit of effort to your future value, not just your top of market value for today. And that's the value of your time. Number 2 is, someone else won't do it as well. Of course they won't. You have to build a model to support a business is profitable even if someone else doesn't do it as well as you. Number 3 is, but I like it. That's complete bullshit. Either you're making an excuse or you really do like it and you're in the wrong business. Get into the business you like then, instead of making it a DIY. Let's go start a painting company. And the 4 things you have to give away right now: DIY rehabs, the paint and floors. Number 2, leasing and management. 10%, 8%, guys, no brainer. Focus on things that make you more money. 3, accounting and taxes and things that you have to put a lot of effort into learning just to do once a year. Give those to somebody. And number 4 is acquisitions. It's a dirty job. You need opportunities brought to you. You need to have a system where opportunities come into your inbox on a daily basis, or onto your desk, whatever you want to call it. And that's it, guys. I'll do a little bit of Q&A. I got 5 minutes today. I want the best questions, and then I'm going to hop off. I got an investor call right after this, but first I'm going to do your giveaway, of course. So let's take a look at some questions that have already come in. We've got some good questions. I'm on fire today. Thank you, y'all. That was someone else's comment. Does my course have the lead gen stuff? So there is like a 30-minute module on lead generation. It covers a little bit of the off-market marketing direct to seller. Most of the course buyers are not trying to do that. So I've got a brief section on that, a brief section on how to find deals yourself without having to market and create a huge sales funnel, like how to go onto Facebook Marketplace and find deals, a little bit about wholesaler and broker relations. So it does have a bit on that, and then a bit on how to get the easiest MLS opportunities so that you're not spending a ton of time on the MLS. It's not a marketing and acquisitions masterclass, right? It is a full system. So it is definitely like the foundational full system. I will probably make a marketing and acquisitions masterclass that's going to be like 4 to 6 hours on marketing and another 4 to 6 hours on like the acquisition sales process in the future. Those are really, really deep dive topics that are not applicable to the general audience that's looking to learn the broader process. Next, what do we got here? How do you not get ripped off by contractors managing projects from out of state? All right, so what you got to do first is you got to start with projects that do not require much in the first place. Uncomplicated projects. And then you've got to use management companies that are reputable in the area and make sure you only buy properties in a market where you have redundance in viable management companies. You got 3 different management companies that come well reviewed, that interviewed well on the phone. You got one favorite. You get a clean property that's well below their limits. You're not asking for any favors. You start with that clean property. And then you progressively add slightly more complexity with more deals that you add to your portfolio with them. By the time you get to the more complex deals, you've got a relationship and you understand how to work with them. They understand how to work with you, and you know what they're capable of and what they're not. And if you found a good management company, you could take on a deal that allows them to do more for you when you've already established the trust. Don't start with a trust leap or a trust fall, where you close your eyes and someone fucking catches you. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. They're not gonna catch you. Start with something easy until you build trust. Take your time, and then once you get there, do the difficult stuff with them. What else we got here? What have you found to be the best ROI in terms of skills to master? Demand generation. Being able to get investors to come to me, customers to come to me and say, here's my money, do something with it. When they bring you their money first, there's this concept in like lean manufacturing principles. I think it's like the Lean Six Sigma, production protocols. I think Toyota developed a lot of them, Motorola developed a lot of them too, and they kind of merged them. And a lot of business schools teach this stuff now. I didn't go to business school, but I learned it somehow. I wonder how, the internet. They have this principle called generating pull. What does that mean? It means the demand pulls the business's supplies or services, right? So I'm over here generating demand. We've got a massive investor list. You guys are coming to me saying, Elliot, you know this business. I want to give you my money. Teach me how to buy these properties. Bring me a property so I can learn this game. Give me a digital product that shows me how your system works, right? Give me a course. Give me your calculator. You guys asked for my calculator. You guys asked for my course. I literally said I'd never make a course. So many people asked for a course that I'm like, fine, I'll make a course. Generate pull. Generate demand. And when you have a lot of demand, then you have so many options to create supplies, services, products that people are going to want, and you have broader range. So like when we have a big ass investor list bidding on properties, 50 people overnight, like last night's property had like 42 people from 3:30 p.m. to 7 a.m. today. 42 people signed up to buy this property at asking price or over. It was a fourplex. And it wasn't a discount from market value, it was just a great property. And when we have 41 people, and over the weekend it'll go up to 60 for sure. We had cash offers in there and all that. What do I have? I've got 59 people I didn't choose. I got to go find something for them. Now, so much more of our supply pipeline looks like viable, monetizable product to us. Generate demand. That's the highest value thing you could do in your business. Demand gen stays number one in every business. And then you just have to think about what to offer these people. I'll take one more question, then scram. What do you suggest I should do when going to consult a lawyer about wanting to use your real estate contracts regularly? Look, those contracts are just for reference. They're for educational purposes only. There's a big thing up top. Every contract template should not be used out of the box. You should have a lawyer review, and you should understand, and it should be case by case per real estate transaction where you determine the terms and conditions of that particular deal. So when you go to the attorney, you should go to them with a, hey, what should I be adding to this for the type of transaction that I want to do? Here's the type of transaction I'm going to do in general. What should I do to modify this type of agreement to accomplish that? And if you don't like that approach, if you think that's excessive to go to them early, then bring a deal to them and say, I'm about to sign this. I'm about to send a contract out to purchase this property. Here's what I want to accomplish with this particular deal. Here's this standard template I have. What changes should I make to it for this scenario? That's the best thing you could do. That's the last question I'm going to take from you guys today because I do have to scram. This was an awesome live session. Thank you for joining me, guys. Rewatch this one over the weekend because there's some gold mine, like some gold nuggets in there. I tried to keep it dense for you, and the Q&A was great too. So thanks for coming with thoughtful questions today. We got a Q2 celebratory brunch also. So I'm going to take this investor call, then I'm going to go stuff my face with French toast and some Irish coffee. Peace out, y'all. See you next week.